Isack Hadjar just took P3 in a very chaotic Dutch Grand Prix. Now let's talk about the race a little bit. It just ended. We'll cover the race itself, at least, the key moments in it, including the Norris DNFs and all the dramatic overtakes, as well as some of the post-race stuff. Mainly Jacques Villeneuve's delusional comments that he's been sprinkling all around the place this entire weekend. But yeah, let's start with the race. It was clear from the very beginning that the McLarens were going to be untouchable. However, yet again, Lando Norris does not fail us with his ridiculous race starts where he manages to lose a position to Max Verstappen, who just does a ridiculous save when he's going around the outside of Norris. I mean, catching that massive stab of oversteer, that it looked extremely dramatic. It just looked so sick. And the fact that he managed to keep it ahead of Norris going into turn 3 with that, yeah, you can just tell that some drivers are cut from a different cloth compared to, certain others. But yeah, it was obviously a matter of time before, Norris was going to pass him. The McLaren, at times, it was literally a second a lap quicker than the second fastest car. So it was quite clear cut that it wasn't going to be a challenge. Literally the biggest challenge that Norris was, the only thing that was going to prevent Norris from overtaking Verstappen was Norris himself. And he didn't fumble it. He went around the outside of turn 1 very cleanly. It was a really good move. He stuck it around the outside. Max gave him a lot of space. It was surprisingly fair racing. He left way more space than he needed to for Norris, but I think he knew just as well as anyone else that it would have only been a matter of time. He may have just, been overtaken the next lap anyway and have wasted his tires. Now the McLaren battle up front, it was honestly quite boring. Norris was just kind of stuck 3 seconds behind Piastri until the safety car. Nothing was really happening there, and I think that's just kind of representative of the whole season and why no one's really rating that this season as exciting as on paper it should be. It's because the McLaren drivers, they rarely fight each other. Once the other one is in the lead, the other one just stays a couple seconds behind, and they don't really go wheel to wheel. Lewis Hamilton, he found out that paint does in fact get wet when water is on it the hard way, and had a very Lewis Hamilton Ferrari type of moment where he just, it was his first DNF as a Ferrari driver, but he just kind of clotted it into the wall. Driver mistake. I would say that someone with his amount of experience should have probably known better, but then again, it has been the racing line all weekend to go on the paint a little bit in turn 3, so it should have been rubbered in, but then again, that could just make it more slippery. But shit happens. It could have happened to anyone, couldn't have happened, and he probably, I don't know, maybe he just had a crash out because he asked for an undercut literally half a lap before, and the team responded by giving an undercut to Charles Leclerc instead of him. Which also didn't really help considering how Leclerc's race unfolded later on. But the safety car, actually no, it wasn't even the safety car restart, it was the VSC restart. I think at the safety car restart, we had the Sainz and Lawson moment, which the 10-second penalty for Sainz was insane, in my opinion. It was a textbook racing incident. I would have probably, not given anything. And I feel like the penalty was just incredibly harsh considering, the outcome. And the fact that he didn't really turn into Lawson, he just ran out of room. Shit happens once again. But yeah, the VSC restart where Russell is kind of caught asleep on the restart and Leclerc gets him going down the back straight or the little straight almost, and then dive bombs it around the outside and onto the inside at the chicane. That was a beautiful move. Even the Sky commentary team praised it. It was hard racing. It was a bit opportunistic, but it was a great move in my opinion, and I feel like they should just let them race like that. He kept it on track, allegedly, at least it looks like it, barely, but still did, and he got the move done. Sure, there was a bit of contact, but you know, I think that is just a part of racing that sometimes you touch. And it wasn't an outrageous move, it wasn't unsafe. It's a very low speed corner. And yeah, the Sky team said it was brilliant. And it just leaves me to wonder, would they have said the same thing if it was Max Verstappen making that exact same move? Like you just swap Charles Leclerc with Verstappen and he makes that move on Russell like that. I think the Sky team would have just asked for Verstappen to be banned from the sport for life and said he is an unsafe driver and this puts a stain on his legacy once again, something like that. So yeah, this is a what if scenario, but we all know that that's how the British media would have looked at it. So it's just funny to see how they treat racing and like the standards they uphold for different drivers and how different it is the way they react to it. Yeah, Charles Leclerc got passed. Then they covered off Antonelli's undercut. And yeah, Charles Leclerc seemed to not understand why they had to go for the pit stop. He said the tires were fine. I also thought about why would they have to do that. It seemed a bit odd, but then again, it is Ferrari. They make questionable strategy calls all the time. And it paid off in the sense that we got a beautiful shot of Charles Leclerc, the rear-facing shot where we see his rear wing, and somehow we see his front wing behind him, flying in the air, because Antonelli made a questionable dive bomb into turn 3. I mean, props to him for trying it, but there was no way he was ever going to make that. He just straight up understeered into Charles Leclerc and punted him out of the race quite dramatically. And Leclerc just spent the rest of the race sat in the grass. And someone seems to have brought him his phone from the Ferrari garage. I don't think he has it on him during the race. But yeah, there's photos of him just scrolling his phone in the grass, which is quite funny. But yeah, I think Antonelli, rookie mistake. You can see his inexperience. That was just slightly too optimistic of a move. Like Martin Brundle would say, a day late and a dollar short. Yeah. That sparked some interesting comments from Jacques Villeneuve in the post-race show, where he just flat out said that Antonelli is not good enough for Formula One, which I think is a crazy take considering he did get that pole position. He has had a podium. He's been doing good. Obviously, as a rookie, you're going to make some mistakes, and I think he's just in the spotlight because he's in Mercedes, which is one of the main teams, the top teams. So obviously there's going to be a higher expectation for you when you're in Mercedes compared to something like Sauber or Haas. The rest of the rookies, I mean, they're pretty much in just lower midfield to backmarker teams. So it doesn't really matter if they have their questionable moments. But when you take out a Ferrari in a Mercedes, you're obviously going to get a lot more comments questioning your decision making. But to say that he is unfit for Formula One, not good enough, is Jacques Villeneuve. He's been giving some questionable takes all weekend, and I think this one just kind of takes the cake. He goes on to talk about, but Verstappen was 17 when he came to Formula One. Hamilton was young when he came to Formula One, and they weren't, off the pace by 4/10. They were making stupid moves, but especially Verstappen, but he wasn't off the pace. Yes, that is true, but I also you've picked two of probably the greatest drivers of all time, at least who are in the conversation, and decided to compare Kimi Antonelli to them. That is a very high bar to compare anyone to. But yeah, I mean, just because Hamilton and Verstappen weren't as slow/mistake prone when they were young and rookies, it doesn't mean that every driver is going to be up to that standard. I mean, think about Hadjar, who got a beautiful podium today. He put it into the wall on the formation lap in Australia. And I'm sure Villeneuve had something dumb to say back then too. And look where we are now. From crying and being consoled by Hamilton's dad to grabbing his first podium. Also, shout out to Hadjar for being the first Arab driver to get a podium. He said that went under the radar, so let's just mention that because it is a big deal, and he is clearly also proud of it, as he should be. Yeah, so let's get to Hadjar. It was a beautiful drive. He just handled the pressure. He had Leclerc and Russell both behind him at some point, and he just, like he said in the cool down room, he didn't unnecessarily defend the inside into turn one, and he just managed it beautifully. Like the pressure didn't pile on him too. He handled the pressure well. I'm sure there was a massive amount of pressure piling on him, but he handled it brilliantly, and he absolutely deserved that podium, even if it does come at the expense of Lando Norris. However, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first mechanical DNF that McLaren has had since 2021. We don't really count their brake problems. They didn't DNF in 23 or 2, was it? But yeah, so it's been a long time coming for McLaren. It's incredible how they've managed to stay so reliable. I mean, to be fair, they were really slow for the first 3 years of that time period, so maybe they just ran the engines really low. But yeah, it's a shame that Norris, he didn't really put a foot wrong aside from the start, which, is clearly his weak point. We can no longer, or we haven't for a long time, been able to argue against that. He just isn't good at race starts, to put simply. And I think he just showed some signs of cracking once again this weekend with, leading every free practice session and then and like qualifying sessions too, until Q3, where it actually matters. Piastri came through and put it on pole. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the weekend, where Piastri won. And Norris would have been P2 had his car not decided to piss itself and get an oil leak. It's a shame for Lando. It's a bit of a shame for the title battle, but maybe we'll get some better Lando Norris. He drove brilliantly last year after after he had nothing to lose, really. After Brazil, he drove really well. So maybe we're getting that side of Lando again, where he has nothing to lose. And maybe he will perform better now that I don't know, maybe there's more pressure. I mean, there probably is, because there is definitely all the chances in the world for him to still win the title. But maybe he has a bit more of that nothing to lose mentality now, because now he actually needs to lock in. Like, being P2 every race to Oscar isn't enough. You can't just hope for Piastri to make a mistake, because he managed brilliantly as well today. He deserved the Grand Slam that he got. He led every lap. He survived multiple safety car restarts, and he wasn't under threat in any of those restarts, nor the race start. And he didn't put a foot wrong, aside from, like, his biggest mistake was literally just the bit of going on the line that they showed in the cool down room, which there was no harm done. He just went maybe 3 centimeters wider than is optimal. But yeah, nothing wrong with that. Piastri had a brilliant race. He deserved the win. The McLaren, obviously it is a lot faster than every other car, but you still have to finish the race to win and not make too many mistakes. You can still win with making a few mistakes, as Norris showed in Singapore last year. But yeah, I don't know. Personally, I think the title is Piastri's to lose now. I think he definitely has the upper hand. He's shown that he has what it takes to win on pace and consistency, and I think he will do it. He has 9 wins now, which I think is, well, he's bypassed a lot of other drivers. Like, he has more wins than Russell and Leclerc, which is crazy to think about. But Piastri has been driving really well this season, but I do think both McLaren drivers are lacking something to make it really interesting. Both are both are good, but neither one is exceptional. I think that's the only way I can say it. Like, there isn't anything that either of them does that makes me go like, wow, that is a champion right there. Like, with many other drivers in the past, I think Leclerc has had many of those drives. Russell has even had those drives. Verstappen, before he won his titles, he had multiple of those drives. And, obviously the champions have all had those drives. So, but yeah, I haven't seen anything convincing from the McLaren drivers yet, where if they were to have an equal card, someone like Leclerc or Russell, or especially Verstappen, that they would come out victorious in that battle, which I think does kind of put a little bit of a shadow over the title battle, because deep down that neither driver is it's not a battle between the best drivers. It's just battle between two good drivers who happen to have the best car. But that is the reality of Formula One. It is an engineering sport, first and foremost, and a personal achievement sport second. Yeah, but overall, I'd say that was a pretty good race. We had some safety cars, which we've been missing for a long time. It started raining right after the race, which is a shame because that would have brought another level of excitement. And yeah, it was a good race. It was exciting. I feel like it was a good return from the summer break. I haven't really felt that excited during a race for a while now. And we're going on to Monza next, which is an entirely different story. We'll see if Leclerc gets his grid penalty, which I don't think he deserves, for, the Russell overtake and then DNFing and not being able to serve a potential penalty. But I don't think he should get a penalty. I don't know if he has, but I don't think he should. And yeah, we'll be at Ferrari's home. Hopefully the Ferraris pull something out of the bag. It'd be nice to see Hamilton get out of his slump, because I think he is, it's incredible to even be able to say these words and not be entirely delusional, but he is probably at the risk of getting dropped if he keeps it up like this, because what we've seen so far, it's not entirely on Hamilton. Ferrari is a shit show. Let's not forget that part. But it just goes to show that the likes of Vettel, he got disrespected by the Formula One fans due to his Ferrari stint. But now that Hamilton is there, I think we should really start asking questions about Ferrari, because Hamilton is having a Vettel 2020 season. He hasn't even had the 15, 17, 18 type season here. He's having a Vettel 2020 type of season. And that's just, I don't think Hamilton is that bad of a driver. There is something wrong with Ferrari. But we'll get to Monza. We'll see how it goes. Subscribe if you enjoyed this off the script waffle that we've had here, and be sure to tune in again during next time we have a race. My name's Half Wild Lice. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon.
But it sound like it's been 20, cause my flow is so sweet. Ain't talking diabetic, I'm lapping up the cream. That's the way I'm headed. A lot of ups and downs on the way, I won't forget it. Should be more decorated, it ain't hard to admit it. This the shit you think is silence, I'm the one who said it. Now I said it twice, played nice. I'm the one who is the prize, I'ma make it to the top for a amount of tries. And when the day comes, it means I'm running out of time, running out of life, still ain't fucking quitting.